students. And we both teach in the high school. I teach 10th and 12th, Jen teaches 11th and 12th, and whenever we're getting ready to do a presentation, we always find new research because this is a burgeoning field. And so we run into class, we gotta tell you guys about what we just learned, and so we're always sort of educating our little corner of students. And it's because we think it's really, really compelling. That said, if you read the article or saw it, I brought some extra copies that Carol has. So if you didn't get to see it and would like to pick up a copy, there's paper copies. I have 15 paper copies you can pick up at the end of the talk. Go hand them out now. They'll just read them. Or you can get it online. It's linked from Carol's page. And what that is a summary of our longer presentation. This presentation typically takes 2 hours. And so what we've done is we've compressed the presentation part down to 20 minutes. So know that we're skipping a lot, and a lot of what we're skipping is in the article. But what we've experienced has taught us sort of what are the key things that are relevant to action steps we can take as parents around multitasking. What do we need to know about what's difficult? And so what we want to do is talk for 20 minutes or so, and then open the floor to discussion. And we're going to switch from PowerPoint to Word. And we thought what we're hearing increasingly from people that we present to is like, okay, we get the problem, what do we do? And we have a handout, which is derived from a variety of conversations we've had with other groups. But we think it's really powerful to develop community norms as a community. And so we didn't want to give them all away, what we think or what other groups have come up with. Rather, we thought it would be helpful for this group to sort of say, okay, for our kids, here are the things we struggle with. Here's the things they're saying, but Mom, you can't do that because everybody else can do it, or, you know, but I have a computer and a cell phone in bed with me, and everybody else does that, so I can't. Whatever. So, what are the issues with the kids at Head-Royce in the middle school, and what are you thinking about getting them ready for high school and college? There go the distractions.
I'm so sorry.
Every talk. It's amazing. Make your cell phone go off 5 minutes in. So I think that's all I need to say by way of introduction. One of the things that we figured out early on is that when we started out looking at this, we thought we knew what multitasking is. Turns out we didn't exactly know. We needed to define it, and that the world really doesn't know. And so there are 2 things that we want to say to start. This is that we have developed a sort of bifurcation of what multitasking is, and we think that synthesizing multitasking is a really, really powerful good. It's a desirable experience that most of us hopefully have experienced and that we want our kids to experience, which is that when people are working on a complicated project that has a lot of inputs and it requires intense thought, and you have picture inputs and memory inputs and rough draft inputs, and somebody's calling you up about this particular project because they have a new point, or they turn on HiChat and say, I just want to tell you about this. But they're all related, and you're controlling the inputs, and they all contribute to this large complex project. There you're synthesizing complex information that's coming from different sources. That is all, it's all related, and you're in control, and we associate this with the experience of flow. That this is a very positive, powerful intellectual experience that we seek. We're not worried about that. We desire that. What we're worried about is another kind of multitasking that we've labeled distracting multitasking, and this is what we experience in our daily lives. That cell phone just going off was an example of that. When our kids are listening to iTunes while they're doing their homework, that's an example of that. When they get interrupted by a text message, that's an example of that. When their little brother is watching a loud TV show in the same room or the next room, that's an example of that. And the difference is that in this distracting situation, a person is focusing on a task, and there are inputs coming in that are not related to the task and that are not invited. So they're not controlled and they're not related. And it's a really different neurological experience, because there you're trying to sort of sift out, whereas in the synthesizing you're trying to sift together.
So we're going to talk about various brain regions that are important for working memory and being able to think and remember and achieve that synthesizing multitasking that we were talking about. And these brain regions are usually affected by the distracting types of multitasking. So you're going to get a quick brain anatomy lesson. There are only 3 brain anatomical structures that I'm going to teach you, although there are many more that are important. So first of all, I want you to think of the brain like an orange, and on the peel activation in order to care about what you learn about. If you don't have enough amygdala activation, you don't care and you just don't learn anything very well. The flip side is that you could have amygdala overactivation, and that also then disrupts the learning as well. We'll talk about that in a moment. Now, the next slide, there's another area of the cortex. What do you think in your head? Consciousness. So there's an area of the cortex of what you're being conscious of that is called the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, which is really fun to say, so you should all try it. Go. Oh, you guys sounded way too articulate. I like how everyone's like, okay. So the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, and that's kind of like right up here. And what I would like you guys to do right now is to say, oh yeah! Okay, do it. Oh yeah! Wow. Bob Wells building it. Okay, so your dorsolateral prefrontal cortex is one of many areas that are, especially on the left side, it's one of many areas that are incredibly important for holding something in your mind, and it's also important for executive function, like being able to